Hello and welcome to Bergkamp Wonderland. I've got bananas all over my hands, but that's a long story. With me tonight, it is going in alphabetical order, as I always like to go. It's Dan Potts from the Same Old Arsenal podcast. I've had to pay Craig £2,500 to get him on. Dan, have I been mugged off?
No, man, I'd say that was about right for Craig. You know, I know Craig well. No, man, listen, it's a pleasure to be on. Thanks very much for having me, Danny. I've always wanted to come on here, so much appreciated.
I didn't even know you hadn't been on. Like I said before the show, 700 podcast. I barely know anybody anymore. It's just a blur. This is our sixth, seventh season. I can't remember. So yeah, it's good to have you on. You're brilliant on Craig's podcast or your podcast. You and the judge. It's one of my favourite podcasts. Right out there with Tom's, and when Mike and Andy can be bothered with their one as well, and all the other little ones that go around. It's brilliant. It's a great time for an Arsenal fan to have so many decent quality podcasts.
Cheers, Danny. Much respected. Appreciate that.
Lovely. And then also with us tonight, next in the list of alphabetical order, it's Femi Femstar. I'm going to call you all of those all the way through the show until you turn your laptop off in anger. All right, mate?
How are you doing, guys? You okay? Good to be on.
How does it feel to be one of only 3 Arsenal going fans that's ever met me? Do you often sit back with a coffee and reminisce about those good old days when we could go to football and meet people?
That was one of the last few times we did go, isn't it? Yeah, it was quite near the end of the Emirates going days. Who knows when we'll be back, eh?
I've paid about 60 quid for my purple membership, and I've used it for one bloody game. I spent about 100 quid in petrol and food that day, and it was rubbish. So yeah, anyway, they're going to be bringing us all back. There'll be, I think they're going to have one person per row in the stadium. It's going to be a nightmare. But anyway, at least it's all on the TV everywhere. So I'm just having a look who's it. Got Michael from Sweden was the first person here. Phil Macker from Norwich. There's going to be a bust up in Norwich because we're only legally allowed 2 Arsenal fans in Norwich. We've got Ellis, we've got Nick, we've got Phil, and there was a young man in the last show. He's also from Norwich, so this summer's going to get tasty down there. Thunder Road has put 1-0 Brentford. It's now 2-0 Brentford. We don't want Welsh teams in the Premier League. We've spent long enough trying to get them scumbags out. And also, who else is down there? Oh, Loki's there, and Mike Hertz is there. I've got your question, Mike. I will be. Oh, you're in. Oh, no. What time is it in Vancouver? Oh, this is a new person. Chris Bebek. It's Chris. Even when it's 5 letters, I fuck it up. That is absolutely terrible, isn't it? And who else? So, a Bulgarian Gooner. Great minds think alike, Danny. I don't know what I said, but thanks for agreeing it. And Luka Kolakusic. How can I pronounce that? And I can't pronounce something with 5 letters, all of which are from the English language. And they're the SIC. They're all wrong. They're all spelt wrong. They've all got bits of fluff on top of them. Bok. Bok is Croatian for hello. Look at me. I am multilingual. So that's it. Yes, so let's talk a little bit about the Aston Villa game. I don't know why we should, because it was an absolute nightmare. Femi, what was your thoughts? And try and hold back the tears, because no, Watford game, that's not Aston Villa. Do you know why I said Aston Villa? Because I'm going to go and have a look through our notifications, and that shitbag Josh said, are we going to cover the Aston Villa game? Because he's a scumbag. And now he's put that in my head. I'm thinking we have to cover the Aston Villa game. No, we don't, do we, Femi?
It's Watford. That was Tuesday, wasn't it? So, yeah.
Scumbags. Absolute scumbags.
Watford, last game of the season. Weird game, wasn't it? I don't really know how to... It was one of those games where you knew there was nothing on it, but you were still a bit anxious about the defending.
I haven't even seen the penalty. What happened?
David Luiz happened, isn't it?
No, the penalty for us. I turned it on after 5 minutes.
For us. Yeah, it was a okay. So this was a really weird one, wasn't it? The player just clatters into Lacazette. Anywhere else on the pitch, that would have been they wouldn't even need to go to VAR. But of course, Mike Dean looks at it, doesn't give it. You're thinking, in first glance, I thought that looked like a penalty, but we never get it anyway. But, as soon as it goes to VAR once, VAR twice, you're thinking, okay, there might be something in this. And then the way that Mike Dean was so reluctant to give it, even when they told him he had to give it, and his facial expression was like, really? That was a penalty? It said a lot, to be honest with you. It really said a lot. But yeah, it was a definite penalty. You cannot clatter into a player like that. Obviously, the Villa who were we playing? Watford players were really wound up. You know,
Josh has got
they
you
were
as
sent
well,
out
hasn't
with.
he? He's got you with the Villa. Don't do it, Dan.
They were sent
Don't
out with
fall in
the
trap.
with the instructions of get out there and get into them. You know, those ones get stuck into them, and they just went a bit ultra aggressive in the first 30 seconds of the game. It was really weird. Third was it our less than 5 penalties this season. Really strange one for us.
Yeah, I think I was looking at the stats, and I think Man United got something like 13 penalties given towards them. And I saw another thing that it was something like 8 times teams have scored against them to take the lead, and those VARs then ruled out those decisions. If you, Dan, you know you're the man who likes stats like that. Have I just made them
No,
up,
you're
or did
right.
I dream them?
No, you're spot on, mate. Man United, Jesus. They were saying the other day about Bruno Fernandes, how great he's been. He's scoring penalties just because he gets one a game to take. I mean, Jesus, this team just get penalties all day long, don't they? It's just crazy. But I'm with Femi. I thought the game was odd. I thought it was a real strange first half because it seemed that everything we did going forward was okay. But this is why Arteta doesn't play 4 at the back, because Luiz and Holding are absolutely abysmal. Trying to play them two together was just like watching Sunday League team. It was so poor watching them pass, watching them try to understand how to go forward and back. Listen, David Luiz can ping a ball, don't get me wrong, but that dude's given away 5 penalties now already in his first season. And the only 2 players... It is a record. The only 2 players that are giving away more are Koscielny and Szczesny. And that was over like 5 or 6 seasons, not in one season. 5 penalties in one season. And this dude was supposed to be like the commanding centre-back that we so needed. I don't feel it. Listen, at 3 at the back, David Luiz is okay. He proved against Man City that he can be commanding and he can get through the games. But don't play him in a back 4. And I think that Arteta was just trying to see what he could do going forward against Watford to try and get Aubameyang them goals, because it was so clear to me that he wanted that golden boot and everybody around him wanted him to get it. Every Arsenal fan wanted Aubameyang to get it. But we're great going forward in a back 4. But my God, are we poor at the back when we play a back 4. It was so bad. I thought Ceballos had a good half. I thought Maitland-Niles had a good half. And Aubameyang and Tierney were great. But apart from that, I was struggling, really. Martinez got man of the match for me. The penalty was a blatant penalty. What I will say about that, Femi brings up Mike Dean. He didn't do that for the Welbeck one, did he? He just went penalty straight away. There's no thinking, was it? It was just penalty, 100%. So strange game. Great Aubameyang's second goal, by the way. No one really said how great that was. The overhead kick, I thought that was sensational. I know the defending was pretty poor. That was an amazing goal. Absolutely amazing goal.
And I squealed like a teenage girl at a Justin Bieber concert. It was mad. Femi, 3-0 up. Do you think, were you going, yeah, they were going to get away with this and Aubameyang score another 2 or 3, get the golden boot?
You know, as Dan was saying that, I just kept thinking, all I can remember about that game was at 3-0 up, I thought, we're going to lose this, aren't we? Like every time that it was such a weird game. Every time they went forward, they just were cutting us. It was like free. As Arteta said in his interview, he said their forwards were cheating, which is Welbeck, Sarr, and Deeney did not come back across the halfway line. So they literally just stuck 3 players up front, and we did not have a clue how to defend them. The Sarr just had the freedom of the left. He was just running. If Tierney wasn't, such a good defender, he was just imagine Kolasinac at left back that day. He would have been absolutely destroyed. I mean, it was just non-stop attack. Wasn't there the stat about the XG that Watford's XG is the second highest in the Emirates? The other highest was us against Man United. The game that De Gea had, that wonder game where he's saving everything.
Yeah.
This was the second highest XG at the Emirates, and it's like, what was going on? But like you said, 4 at the back just didn't work. Holding, I mean, God bless Holding, but I think someone put in the ABW group chat that he has 2 settings, either very, very good or very, very bad. That's it. He's never in between, and that's Rob Holding for you. But yeah, we were, it's. I guess it must be hard. I guess when you've got nothing to play for and the other team has a lot to play for, it probably did play into the way that the game flowed. They had nothing to lose. They just kept streaming forward and forward. It was to be fair, it was a good performance from Watford. To be fair.
You look at their number. I'm just looking here on who scored. It said Welbeck 6 shots, Deeney got 4, Sarr got 2, Pereira got 2, Decor got 2, their left back Messina got 2, Dawson got 1. And then most of them, we only had 13 at home, and they had 19 shots on target. Dan, I thought these days were over when a team would come to us and get didn't one team come and wasn't it Watford like in Emery's first season?
32 shots, mate. 32 shots, man. This is what happens when we can't defend. You can't blame the managers. You know, people are blaming Wenger, Emery, Arteta. Yes, a culmination of errors, absolutely, but this team are not good enough. It doesn't matter whether you play Kolasinac, Xhaka, Luiz, Mustafi, Sokratis, Bellerin. They've all got mistakes in them. Kolasinac come on and it was just embarrassing, wasn't it? I mean, look at that performance when he came on. He has got to be one of the first ones gone in this summer because he sucks. I don't care what anyone says. The guy is not good enough for Arsenal. It's not just the fact that he hasn't got the ability. He's brain dead. He's so unintelligent as a footballer. And we've got so many of them now that need to be removed. And that was a performance against Watford proves why. Again, Martinez kept us in it. I think he's been outstanding. I held my hands up and said, I got this one completely wrong. When Leno got injured, I was seriously worried. I thought, wow, this is a goalkeeper or probably a player that's been our most consistent performer over the last 2 years. And then we've got Martinez coming in who, you know, Reading kind of didn't really want. And all of a sudden, we're stuck with him every game. And he's been outstanding. I mean, some would even say he's been better in terms of performance than Leno. But he was having another great performance against Watford, I thought. But listen, boys, I'm not going to lie, man. I am so glad that Premier League season is done. It was atrocious. I'm really looking forward to the weekend. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, I want to win the FA Cup and I'm buzzing for it. But that season will not be one that I'll be telling the grandkids. Trust me, it was shockingly bad. And I haven't got grandkids, by the way.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Fem, did you think when, 3-1, 3-2, and then Danny Welbeck getting all Danny Welbeck of 2014, getting all sneaky, trying to do that back heel, if that had gone in, do you think we'd have lost? That would have made it. I think that would have been 3-3.
I mean, that was one. To be fair, that was a hell of a save, wasn't it? I mean, strong. He's got such strong hands, doesn't he? Either catches the ball and it sticks to him, or that. I mean, strong wrist is what David Seaman used to say. That was a brilliant save. I mean, Welbeck, to be fair, he had a couple of really gilt-head chances that just reminded you of the Danny Welbeck we had, who had some really good. I mean, there was one that he hit straight at Martinez as well, hit him in the leg, I think. But yeah, we were just, I think, like Dan said, the formation, we changed it back to 3 at the back, and then we just didn't seem to know what we were doing at some point in that game. Obviously, we had a few tired legs. We had Torreira came on, and he had a bit of a nightmare as well. Just players just running past him as well. I don't know what sort of happened to Lucas the last couple of games that he's played. He hasn't looked at his sharpest,
Homesick,
but to be fair, he has. What's that?
Homesick. I think he wants to go back home.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, he did have
that
that injury, didn't he? So maybe we'll give him a bit of an allowance for the injury. But yeah, we probably would have. I mean, on a normal day, we probably could have lost that game. But that's the advantage of having a Aubameyang, isn't it? He's a difference maker for you, isn't he?
Certainly is. Just think of the position we'd be in this season if it wasn't for that. And I think the last time I remember an Arsenal team trying to get someone to get goals like that was in Gary Lineker's last season for Spurs. Ian Wright needed, I think Ian Wright was 1 goal behind Gary Lineker. Half-time, Gary Lineker had scored 1 goal, Ian Wright was 2 behind, and then Ian Wright ended up scoring a hat-trick in that game, last game of the season. And it reminded me of that, absolutely magnificent. And Aubameyang should have got 3 or 4 that game. I mean, that one with poor old Nketiah, I mean, that was really, really nice of Nketiah to try and set Aubameyang up. But I think Aubameyang was going, oh, what? Oh, cheers, thanks. And then didn't score the goal. But it would have been nice for Aubameyang to have got that, just to show that he's a fantastic player. And anybody who says they don't want Aubameyang at the club next season, Dan, they're mad, aren't they? We'd be relegated without him.
Oh, I don't even want to know what it would have been like. I think the stats don't lie. I think we would have been 17th or 18th without Aubameyang this year. I mean, that is absolutely scary to think that. And then what it does is it proves how bad we are in midfield and in defence. I mean, Aubameyang, for me, it's a shame that he is 31 years old, because I look at it and I think to myself, if he would have come to Arsenal at 23, 24 like Henry, then who knows? He could have been even better. But his goal scoring ability is just a goal machine. And people say that he doesn't work hard. Since he's been moved over to that left, he kind of has now. He's kind of been told that he has to work hard and has to track back, and he's starting to do that. I don't actually mind him on that left-hand side anymore. I used to always want him through the centre, but he seems to just be scoring goals anywhere he plays him. And this is what, like, you know, people say about, oh, Xhaka needs a partner to be good. Ozil needs players around him to be good. Aubameyang, doesn't matter whether you play him through the centre, on the right or left. He'll score you a hatful of goals. And that's why he's so good and so important and vital to Arsenal. And I believe he will sign. I believe he will. I think when you look at it, I think there's a lot of rumours that he's going to kind of extend for another year, and there's another kind of pending on Champions League qualification next season, whether he extends past that. I think he's happy at Arsenal. I just think he wants to see ambition, and he wants to see the right signings coming in. And as long as we can be confident that Arteta, Raul and Femi and the rest of them are kind of selling that dream to him, then I think he'll stay, because I think he does love the club and I think he wants to be at Arsenal. I just think he wants to be like we all do want to be, and that's winning trophies. And who can blame him for that?
True.
Watch this. I wrote this on the weekend. Look, we scored 56 goals this season in the Premier League. Oba scored 22 of those 56. That means between our 24, let's be fair, squad players, they scored 34 goals between all of them in 38 games. That's a shocker, to be honest with you. And I think we need contribution from the team, to be honest. You cannot have the rest of your team scoring that few goals. I don't even think another player got into double figures for us in the league this season, just pure league goals. That's a big worry, isn't it?
Massively, man. But look at our midfield, right? Look at our midfield. Joe Willock is the only player that scored the most goals in all competitions. Joe Willock scored 5 goals, right? Martinelli got 10 goals in all competitions. Pepe, I think, got 8 or 9 goals in all competitions, and Lacazette got 9 or 10 goals in all competitions, right? So you're looking at that situation and you're thinking these players are not good enough to just let us have no Aubameyang, because it would be a disaster. And people say that Xhaka and Ceballos have been brilliant, fantastic. They haven't. They've just stepped up. The players that have been brilliant since Project Restart are players like Pulisic and Bruno Fernandes. They're the brilliant players. Xhaka and Ceballos have just stepped up and been good. So you've got to look at that and think we are the 16th in the league in terms of creativity and goals from midfield. So it's not just our defence is poor. You know what I mean? We've got to be looking at that midfield in the summer and saying we need a creative midfielder, whether it's Grealish or whether it's Bosnia, whether it's Todd Cantwell. But we also do need a holding midfielder beast like the Decorays or the Thomas Partys that we're linked with. So our midfield needs to change big time, boys. It really does.
Talking of the goals, Femi, Pepe Premier League, Pepe 5. David Luiz has got 2 goals from centre-back, where Willock has got 1, Torreira's got 1, Saka's got 1, Xhaka's got 1, Nelson's got 1, Ozil's got 1. When you got the fact that your centre-back is outscoring your midfielders, in fact, Sokratis has got 2 as well. That nearly got by me. Our 2 centre-backs between them have scored more goals than most of our midfielders put together. Oh, that's got to change, though, hasn't it? How do we change this, Fem? How do we get rid of these players? Because the summer is coming up and we need to get rid of so many players. And we can't go forward with squad rebuilding for next season because it's obvious they're not good enough. They're not doing the job. And obviously Arteta wants better players. And I think other players will see the way we play and see Arteta and go, oh, actually, he's got something going on there. But we can't be a club with 9 centre-backs, can we? Yes, they're goals. Maybe we should play them up front.
You know what? I said this. Yesterday there wasn't there reports coming out that Sokratis isn't going to leave because he's happy with the wages that he's getting.
I bet he is.
And I said, that causes us massive problems because I mean, imagine you're the boss or Cronky or whatever, and you don't really pay attention to what's going on. You just see wages coming out, and then your bosses, your underlings are coming to you saying, "Well, we need another centre back," and then they're looking at just a spreadsheet and they're saying, "Well, you got like 7 or 8 of them. What are they all doing?" And then you've got these two that are not playing any minutes. So why are they still there? There's no justification for adding more if you cannot get rid of. So that means we're going to have to do a lot of bargaining to get these guys out, and that should be the bit in the next 2 weeks. That should be all our effort should be spent on getting players out and telling players, look, you're not going to play any game time. It's weird because these players don't seem to mind. They seem to just want to sit around and just. It's just like this new. It's not even. I mean, Winston Bogarde was a anomaly back in the day, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But these guys, it's like a standard now. Just look, you're paying us so much. I don't mind sitting around for 1 year and doing nothing. I'm 31. My career's almost over anyway. Just sit there and do nothing. It's such a weird career. It's like they're number 2 goalkeepers. They just don't mind. And these are like proper, full-time professional footballers just sitting around doing nothing. I don't know how we're going to get rid of them.
Dan, talking about the wages, used the Daily Express. As a general, the Football Manager games are very, very accurate when it comes to wages. I've got a list going all the way back to 2016. But if we look at the Daily Express from for this season, they said Mkhitaryan was on 140 grand, others say 180. And then you've got Kolasinac on between 100 and 120 grand because it was a free transfer. Sokratis on 90 grand, Mustafi 90 grand, Torreira on 75. El Nenny's even on 55. No wonder these players are going to want to go, no, I'm all right, thank you very much. I've bought myself a nice cushion. I'll sit here and soak up the wages. And like Femi was saying, I was on John, Miami Gooner. I was on his podcast. And he didn't know about Winston Bogarde. And I was explaining to him what he did. And he was the very first player I know to do that. How do we get in this position and how do we get out of it? Because someone just said in the chat, I did highlight it. Who was it? Someone said they're going to have to cancel the contracts. Are we in a position where we can cancel contracts? Because we can't just cancel it. And someone like Mesut, he's got a year left on his contract. Mustafi's got 2 years, although Mustafi's turning out to be a decent player. I think Sokratis has got 1 or 2 years. They're not going to let them go for nothing, are they? The players are going to go, you want to get rid of me? I want a big chunk of that money, aren't they?
Man, the summer of 2021. I cannot wait. Please put it into the summer like now. I honestly cannot wait to look at some of these players. Nobody wants them. There's hardly been any interest in any of these players for the last 2 years. Tyrone Mings can go to Aston Villa for 26 million and we can't even get 5 for the fucking Mustafis, El Nennies and all these. These players are shit. These players are so shit. Nobody wants them. They are rubbish players, right? So when you get to it, how do we get rid of them? You're going to have to do some bargaining, like Femi says. But more importantly than that, you're going to have to accept that Mesut Ozil is going to be sitting on the bench next season, or he's going to be out of the squad next season, playing Fortnite or whatever the hell he does, because he's not going to be interested in leaving until 2021. Likewise, you look at Kolasinac, Xhaka, Torreira, Mustafi, Sokratis. These players are all out of contract, not until 2021, 2022. So we're going to have to look at that. We're still stuck with them for the meantime. Like, why is El Neni still at this club? Like, it is unbelievable to still think that he's coming back and there's not even any interest about him. He's been given the number 25 as a squad number. Like, what has been going on? Like, he should be well out of the club by now. It's craziness. These wages are a joke. And it's Wenger and Gazidez. We need to get rid of the Wenger and Gazidez signings. If Jurgen Klopp, right, had taken over at Liverpool, 5 years ago, and in the Liverpool side, we are watching every week, there's Balotelli up front, Lovren at the back, Saka, Lucas, Joe Allen. You think Liverpool fans wouldn't be frustrated? Of course they would. That's why we're frustrated when we've still got Wenger players like Ozil, Bellerin, Xhaka, Mustafi, Kolasinac, all stuck in the side still. Get them gone, man. They've been there for 4 or 5 years, and I hear people saying to me, I believe Arteta should give these players a chance. They've already had a chance, and they messed it up For 5 years running now, these players have been disappointing the fans. And if they let us down at the weekend, then no more chances for me. They need to be gone and we need to move forward. Like I said earlier, Xhaka and Ceballos have done well, but they ain't the future of Arsenal. We're not going to win anything with them. If you want the Xhakas and Mustafis to stay in this side, we're going to be 7th or 8th again next season. So don't come crying when it happens. We need to move forward, not staying at the same.
If only. Fem, Archie says, why are we letting players train when they refuse to leave? We got to be ruthless. Apparently, Guendouzi is training with, was it on his own or with the under-23s? Because I know the under-23s have started training again this week.
Is there he was training with a fitness coach, they said, didn't he? Yeah, you cannot. I've seen a lot of comments about cancelling contracts. Can't cancel contracts or take. Imagine how much it will take to pay off a player. Now, what happens is you're paying them off in a lump sum. So imagine you, I don't know, buying a car and you're paying it off monthly, and then all of a sudden you say, well, I just want to pay it off in one lump sum. It's just going to deplete all your funds, isn't it? So if you want to be cancelling contracts with all your transfer money, then you can do that, but then you're not going to be able to sign anyone, are you? So I think the best we can do is subsidize wages and get them out. I think that's the only way we can do it. The ones that have a year left, you are going to have to just say, you know what, go on loan for a year and then we'll subsidize your wages and you just get out. It's better not to have players who are not playing. What's the point of having players who just, you like you said, how many big teams now send players to train with the reserves? It's not really a Premier League. It's sort of an old school Premier League manager mentality, isn't it? The George Graham days, the Fergie days, where you send a player to go and train with the reserves. I just don't see that happening, but it's going to be loans out. I see a lot of players getting loaned out.
I don't mind that though, Femi. I don't mind that. They're just a bad smell, aren't they? They're a bad smell. Yeah. Just get rid of them.
There's no point in what's the point of a player just sitting on the bench playing 1 minute every 10 games and getting paid his full wages? You might as well just pay half his wages and get him out of the club, to be honest. What's the point?
And the thing is, as well, Danny, sorry, someone put up, and I think it was Luca, but you can't get rid of 10 players in one window. I totally agree with that. However, what you can do is sell like a mass exodus to say 7 or 8, but only bring 3 or 4 in. Because these players are such dead wood that they don't even play anyway. So, why would we need to replace El Neni? He's not been here all season. Why do we need to replace Mkhitaryan, who hasn't? That's 2 straight away that can go out the door. Mesut Ozil, we don't need to replace him because he's not been playing. You look at the Guendouzi situation and then you start to say, okay, that's a shame. Maybe we can replace him. But bringing 4 players in, let's say, and getting rid of 8, I don't believe would weaken our squad because there's 8 players that are just dead wood that need to be removed. And I'd rather be playing some of the young players ahead of some of these seniors because I believe their mentality is a lot better. So that's how we freshen things up. And I understand you can't get rid of 15 players, unfortunately, and bring 15 players in. But I'm not sure that it is like that. I think that we only need 3 or 4 world-class kind of first-team players that suit the style of Arteta for us to start playing better.
Do you remember anything about the Premier League changing the rules on loans? I'm sure I did hear that you can only loan out, was it 5 or 6 first team or 5 or 6 players to other clubs? Do you even know about that?
There is a rule, you're right, but I don't know how many it is. I thought it was 4, but it might be 5 or 6. I don't know. I think there is only a certain amount you can, and obviously we're going to want to loan out some of the youngsters as well, so it could be an issue for us.
Oh, there you go. Transfer market says
I'm just looking at something. For someone that says we can't get rid of 10 players, in the season 2017-18, we got rid of the Ox, Sanchez, Walcott, Giroud, Coquelin, Chesney, Gabriel, Gibbs, Debussy, Sonogo, Joel Campbell. That's just to name 11. A few. Lucas Perez.
12. That's 12 players. See,
so there we go. You can get rid of a lot of players. Remember, we turned around our whole squad in sort of 2 windows: the summer and January window. Literally, all those players left, and we only had about 5 or 6 players come in. So it's literally the matter of you have to get rid. You can't have 8 or 7 or 8 centre backs on your books. It's just pointless. It's just a waste of money. I mean, like that's why I can't. I mean, as a Cronky, you must be thinking, why am I giving these guys all this money and it's just being burnt? We're just burning money. It's not smart business at all.
I'm reading here on Transfer Market. I agree with what you were saying, it isn't, but it says players aged 22 and older are affected with the new rules, which only allow 8 international loans in and out from the start of next season. And then from 2022-23 onwards, the limit is set to 6 players. And it says a little bit further down, in the Premier League, Chelsea have made headlines with their, quote, loan army. In the past few years, Blues currently have 14 players out on loan. That's, I think, the ones that are older than 22. And Man City have 15. I mean, there was one point where someone had a list of all the Chelsea players that are out on loan. And Dan, didn't they have like 50 or 60 players out on loan from all ages?
Yeah, Chelsea had like 33 players on loan, and it was just getting ridiculous. So, yeah, that is a good rule in that respect. But we might come a cropper with that if we do have to loan the Ozils and the Mustafis and all those sort of players, because that could be an issue for us. But for me, I just want to have faith in the recruitment, because I haven't for the last 10 years. You know, you look at some of the players that we've brought in. You know, Femi talks about the players that went out there was 12, 13 players he'd listed off, but look at the players that have come in to replace him. Look at the state of what's happened there. You know, I'm fed up of the kind of, we need a player for a couple of years. Let's go and buy Lichtsteiner. Let's go and buy a Chelsea rejecting David Luiz. And now we're looking at another one in Willian, who's still a good player, but he's washed up at 33 years old. I'm fed up of that. I want to go and see something that's exciting and look at the players that we could have had. And I know it's easy to say that, but when we were looking at Van Dijk at the same time that we looked at Mustafi, and when we were looking at N'Golo Kante the same time we were looking at Granit Xhaka, you've got to look at yourself and say, why are these scouts still at this club then? Because they've not done their job. So for me, Raul and Edu and Vinay, whoever it is, I don't think it's transparent enough to know what the hell these people do at the club. But what needs to happen, in my opinion, is we need to be looking at what Arteta and Edu want for this team to suit a style. And if it isn't a Thomas Partey and it's a Doucouré, go and get Doucouré. If it isn't a Doucouré and it's some 5 million defensive midfielder from France, go and get the 5 million defensive midfielder from France. As long as Arteta wants the guy and wants to work with him, then it's good. That's why the jury's still out with Pablo Mari, because he's only played a few games. But I'm okay with him because it's somebody Arteta and Edu said they wanted as a left-sided centre-back. I'm okay if we go and buy somebody from Brazil that we've not heard of because Edu believes he'll fit the style. So that's the way I'm looking at it. There's a lot of rumours about Gabriel Magalhaes from Lille because Upamecano's looking more and more unlikely. Go and get him. A £25 million centre-back who sounds realistic, 22 years old, Brazilian, a beast, quick, pacey, somebody I'd rather have next to Saliba than the Mustafis and Sokratis and Luiz's of this world. So that's the sort of signing I want to see us go and
get. Is he left-footed as well? I saw clips. I've never watched him. I mean, I've heard a lot about him. He looks left-footed from the clips I saw today as well.
I'm actually not sure, but he looks good.
Yeah, he looked left-footed. Yeah, he did look good in the clips. But like I said, I can't confess to have seen him play.
Talking about what you were mentioning, Femi, about all those players that left after we did the double, after we did the Invincible, from the 1st of June to the 31st of August, which is the transfer window, 22 players left Arsenal, and then for the rest of the season, another 6 players left Arsenal. Like in the original that window from June to August, Wiltord, Jeffers, Shields, Van Bronckhorst, OG, Kanu, Tavares, Holloway, Bailey, Parler, Keown, Probert, Stepanovs, Shaban, Nakamura, another Kanu. Actually, he got hurt. He had to retire. McDonald, Small, Suleiman, Liam Chilvers, and a couple of others. So, I mean, that is 16 years ago. So it has happened. But, yeah, I cannot see all the players that we want to going because we can't afford to pay them off. They'll stay there because they're not going to get that kind of money. Like when Ramsey went to Juventus, he got what's he on, £400,000 a week because he went on a free transfer. None of these players, if we let them go, are going to get anywhere near the kind of money that we're paying them, and it's a catch-22. We can't afford to pay them to go, and they're not going to go under their own steam, are they?
But if they were younger players, like like a Ramsey, then they can command a higher salary when they leave. But when you're the wrong side of 30, you're not going to command a higher salary. So I kind of see why they would stick around for a year or demand that the rest of their contract be paid off. Because then this is probably their last big contract. Their next contract is not, because they are players that are going downhill rapidly. So they're not a 30-year-old that's in demand like an Aubameyang. They're rapidly declining 30-year-olds.
All right, let's cheer ourselves up a little bit, Dan. FA Cup final. What sort of formation would you go for? We'll start on formations first. Yeah, what sort? Because there's been quite a lot of people putting out their formations, and I think that. Tell us what you think.
Yeah, I'd be going back to a three at the back, that's for sure, after seeing our four at the back against Watford. But my fullbacks would be different to what I think it's going to be. I think he's going to go with the same against Man City. I think Bellerin, now that he's been classed as fit, will play at right back, and left back will be Maitland-Niles. I wouldn't have that. And the reason I say that is because I believe Saka and Ainsley Maitland-Niles at right and left would be perfect, because they give us athleticism, they give us pace, they give us power, and they go on the outside. That's why Pepe never ever believes, I believe, that he can't work with Bellerin, because Bellerin always wants to cut on his kind of inside, like Pepe does. So Pepe needs someone to go on the outside of him. Maitland-Niles can be that guy. Saka has been kind of frozen out the last few games, and I'm not quite sure why, but I believe that he should be playing in that position. Then the three at the back that I would go with, obviously Martinez would be in goal. I'd have Holding, Luiz and Tierney as the back three. And then what I'd do is I'd have Danny Ceballos and Granit Xhaka, but I'd have Pepe in the hole behind Lacazette and Oba. So I go with a Lacazette and Oba up front with each other, with Pepe behind, as opposed to wings. I'd leave the width to Saka and Maitland-Niles. I don't believe that's going to be the team. I believe it will be Bellerin on the right and Maitland-Niles on the left. And I think what he'll do is he will go with Pepe right, Aubameyang left, and Lacazette through the centre. That's what I think will happen. But I would go with that formation because I think that we would have more chance of keeping Pulisic and Willian quiet with Maitland-Niles and Saka. You look at what Maitland-Niles has done. He's kept Adama Traore quiet, Wilfred Zaha in his pocket, Martial, now Mahrez. You're looking at this now thinking somebody needs to be keeping those wingers quiet. And the reason I say that is because against Man City, we gave them the wings. We said, go for the wings, cross it if you like, because Aguero and Jesus and Silva and Sterling, they're tiny. We cannot afford to give the wings to Chelsea because they've got a big French striker that we know very well who will play up top in Giroud. And we know that Giroud will definitely score against us because it seems that that's what he wants to seem to be able to always do in terms of the Europa League final. And that still haunts me. I want revenge because of that game. But that's how I'd line up. And we definitely cannot go four at the back. We can't do it.
Femi, do you agree with that? Because
I mean, there's not much. There's not much I can add to that, to be honest. The only thing is that I'll add is we cannot, unfortunately, defend as deep as we did against Liverpool and against City because, like Dan just said, they've got a big French, as some of our fans used to call him, lamppost. But when you defend deep, you're going to have a problem because they're going to swing balls in, and he is so dangerous in the box. His movement is hard to control when he goes to that. I mean, how many of those near post goals does he score? And it's like a Robin with the cutting in, isn't it? You think he can't. How often can a defender not know that he's going to run to the near post? But he always does, and obviously he's good with his head, and we do not want to get him isolated one-on-one with David Luiz. I would be very worried about that. I'm worried about Holding personally. His performance on Sunday just scared the hell out of me. But he's a big game player, I guess. FA Cup final last time, he was up for it, you know. So hopefully Holding can put in a performance, and our midfield has got to be very, very, very strong because for some reason that Mason Mount is in. I don't actually know what he's good at, but he just seems to be doing something at the moment. He seems to be scoring all the time, so we have to be wary of him, and we have to. I think Lacazette dropping deep will be a good ploy for us against Jorginho. Is it Jorginho? That will probably keep him a little bit occupied if we because he did a good job on Who was Man City's holding? It was the German guy. Gundogan was absolutely nullified by Lacazette dropping deep. So if we can get something like that going, I think that will definitely affect their gameplay as well, because they love to build up from him.
Yeah, I agree with that. Dan, I was listening to Amy Lawrence's podcast today, where she was the only decent person on that podcast, horrendous podcast, and she made a good point that you're looking in the Premier League goals conceded. Chelsea have conceded 54. We've only conceded 48. But then I was thinking, you take that on a step, that's home and away. If you go away only, because Wembley is away, Chelsea have conceded 38. We've only conceded 24. Do you think that's the kind of thing that we can build on? Because, I mean, there again, we've only scored 20 goals away from home. So, but go on.
I actually believe, as much as our defence isn't grand, neither is theirs. They've got a goalkeeper who they don't know what to do with. He was £75 million and he can't catch a cold. They're going to have Willie Caballero in goal, I believe, who isn't a great goalkeeper and will definitely make mistakes under pressure. They've got Rudiger, who Chelsea fans that I speak to absolutely can't stand. They think he's a donkey. They absolutely just think he's hopeless. They've got then a choice of either Christensen, who can be inconsistent, Tomori, who's still a young lad. They've got Cesar Azpilicueta, who is a decent kind of veteran for Chelsea now, to be fair. He's been a great servant, but isn't really a natural centre-half at a three in the back. Reece James is a decent fullback, but Marcus Alonso is so slow, it's unbelievable. So we can get at them. We can get at this team. With Aubameyang, with Pepe. That's why I'd like to see Pepe in the middle, because I think he can terrorise that defence. I prefer him. I'd like to see him come centre. I don't like Pepe on the right, personally. And Lacazette, obviously, Femi's just spoken about. So I look at it and think, you know, what Bulgarian Gooners just said, Rudiger is their best defender. Exactly. And he's poor. So you look at it and think, we can definitely get at this team. There's going to be goals in this game, guys. And I don't know if you want to do predictions at the end, but I predict there's going to be a lot of goals in this game. I do. I think I fancy us to nick it 3-2. I don't know if that's going to be an extra time. I don't know if that's going to be in 90 minutes. I fancy us to nick it 3-2 because I think we're going to concede, but I think so are they, because we can get at this defence. Danny, you've just brought up the stats. They concede goals.
Yeah, Femi, I'm going 4-3. It's going to be, I reckon it's going to be 2-1 in the dying seconds. Then one team's going to make it 2-2 extra time. It's going to go 4-3 because their goalkeepers are both shocking. Neither of us can really defend. Most of it is going to come from our attackers. And does it give you any hope? Well, give me your prediction. And then after that, does it give you any hope, the fact that in the olden days, it used to be Arsenal failed against the top six and used to beat the mid-table, lower table teams. Now we've shown this season Arteta's beaten Man United, he's beaten Chelsea, beaten Man City, and he's beaten Liverpool. So it seems to be he's up for the. He can get the tactics for the big games. And Chelsea are one of the big teams. So does that give you hope that maybe we might be able to do it?
Yeah, prediction? I mean, add Wolves away. We did them. Yeah. Sheffield United away. I mean, not many teams win there. Those are good results. And one thing I'll say about that is, if you looked at Man United at the beginning of the season, they were getting those results, as in beating the big teams, doing well against the big boys, and then struggling against teams they couldn't break down. And one player that they bought changed the whole dynamic of their whole team. They signed Bruyne, and then they were steamrolling the smaller teams, albeit with penalties every week, but they were steamrolling the smaller teams just from one player. So I think we should be heartened that you don't need loads of players to change the whole dynamic of your team. In terms of results, I think it will go extra time. I think it will be 1-1. I think we will we will equalize a goal and we'll have our tails up for extra time. So yeah, I think we'll do. I want to say we'll do it, but I don't want to jinx it. I'm so scared.
I don't believe in jinxing. I remember many years ago we did a podcast maybe 5 years ago, and we were talking about superstitions and lucky scarves and lucky socks. I went, and how's that working out for you lot then? Bullshit. There's no such thing as luck. There's no such thing as jinxing it. It's just shitty defending. I think that's what it's all going to come down to. So
I think with a week to prepare, we should be a lot more focused with a week to prepare, not messing around like we were against Watford and Villa. So that should be helpful.
So where are you going to watch it, Femi? And who with?
Oh, definitely watching it at home. I'm gonna have a few friends round. I've got the biggest TV of us all, so everyone's coming around to mine to watch. It's a shame the fans are not going to be there. You know, it's massive. I got, funny enough, the ballots. I seem to always get a ticket in the ballot. I don't know how that works out, but in our row where we sit, we have a group in the row, and a lot of people never seem to get tickets in the ballot, but for some reason I always seem to get tickets. So I went to the Hull City final. I missed the Villa final, and I went to the Chelsea final, the last Chelsea final. So it would have been good to have fans there, but you know, let's just make sure that we can do something. Arsenal, come on.
Who are you watching it with, Dan, and where are you going to watch it?
I wish I could go. I went to Chelsea. I went to Villa. I missed Hull City, which was probably one of the better ones, actually. No, Chelsea was actually. It was. Yeah. It was a hell of a game. I'm going to be watching it with my dad. Every time I go to football, I go with my dad. But I'm going to be around his house with the family because all my family are Gooners. So we will be probably putting a barbecue on, watching the British Grand Prix qualifying. Hopefully Luiz gets on pole and then Arsenal win and we lift the cup. That's what I hope. So that's where I'm going to be watching it. But I don't want to say we're going to lose this game because we just can't lose it. We just can't lose this game. This season has been atrocious. This would just be the kind of soften the blow, so to speak. The FA Cup's great. And I don't care about Europe. Everyone does. I don't care about that. I'm not winning it so we get into Europe. I'm winning it because it's the FA Cup. And people annoy me when they say, oh, it's good. It's our chance to get into Europe. No, it's our chance to win the FA Cup. That the trophy is ours and it'll be number 14 and it'll be great. I'd love it.
I don't want to. I hate playing in the Europa League. Absolute load of nonsense. They should just take us straight out of the group stages. Once you get past that, it's okay. But I'm probably going to be sat 6 foot in front of my TV and on my own, perfectly quiet, no one else in the house, and expecting us to have a good game, have a good win.
The big question is, where are you watching it, BBC or BT Sport with their
BBC
commentary?
BBC, man. BBC, 100%. I can't deal with Steve McManaman, man, and all the others. Jesus.
Which one are you going to pick, Fem?
No, I'll definitely choose. But BBC because I can watch it properly.
Plus,
Let's put it like that.
I don't have Sky or any of that lot. I have to use the wonderful IPTV, which is a wonderful. You'll use that as well, didn't you, Fem?
Yeah, thanks, Danny.
I set you up with my bloke. He sorted you right out.
Definitely sorted me out.
I think people are agreeing BBC, because I forgot it's on the BBC, so I should watch it on the big telly and make the most of it and enjoy beating them. And am I right in thinking, Dan, that Chelsea have two ways of playing? The one they played against Man United, it was long balls down to Giroud, bing, bang, bong. And then they also have another version that they play, like when Josh was saying in the chat, he was saying when they have Pulisic out wide and they don't go direct football. Do they do that, or did I imagine it?
No, you're absolutely right. I think it's changed over this season purely because of their striker. I think Tammy Abraham and Giroud, they've both been kind of swapping. It was all about Tammy Abraham to start with, and they started to play a lot more in terms of their midfield. For me now, you're seeing the wide men play a lot better with the likes of Willian and Pulisic whacking that ball into Giroud. So, yeah, you're right. It's going to be hard. Look, we played them in the Emirates, and I thought we were the better side. We run out of gas in the last 10 minutes, and they unfortunately, from a mistake from Leno and then a winner. But when we went to the Stamford Bridge game, we managed to pull off a great result with 10 men. And I hope that we turn up like we did in that game. And listen, more importantly, I hope that we turn up like we did against Man City, because it's a cup game and anything can happen. If we turn up like we did there, I fancy us to nick it.
Good. Right. We've almost run out of things to talk about. Luckily, you freeloading scumbags have sent us some decent questions for once. Well done. Give yourselves a bag of sweeties. Start with you, Fem. This is from John at John Gunner 87. Hi guys, what has been your favourite podcast this season? Always love it when Danny's on. I wasn't going to read that bit out because I don't want to stroke my own ego. I've got the blinds open and people will come by and stare at me. But yeah, what's your favourite podcasts?
ABW podcast or in general? I mean, this is such a general question.
I think he just means other actual podcasts, not which edition of ours.
I mean, I listen to all of them. To be fair, I listen to. There's been so many Arsenal ones this season. Yellow Boots came back. The Tuesday Club came back. The Athletic ones. I think Michael Cox did some tactics ones that were really good on the Athletic when Arteta first started. I'm a music fan, so I listen to music podcasts. But it's been a weird. Funny enough, isn't it? It's quite weird because when Arsenal lose, it's podcasts are usually the first things that you run to, isn't it, to see if everyone's as angry as you are. So we've seen a few of the Arsecast extras that they've put in a performance on there, haven't they? But yeah, it's been an interesting season of podcasts, I would say.
Dan, what ones have you been listening to that you've enjoyed or not enjoyed?
To be fair, I listen. Obviously, I feature on Same Old Arsenal, and I feature sometimes on Guns and Yellow Ribbons, and I really enjoy Guns and Yellow Ribbons. I think it's a great podcast, very underrated. But I do enjoy Arsenal Vision. I'm not going to lie. I do enjoy Arsenal Vision. I really like Clive on Arsenal Vision. I think Clive is the stuff Clive says. I sit there and I think, wow, yes, I didn't even think of that. Do you know what I mean? So I have to pick up Clive on Arsenal Vision, and of course yourselves. So there we go.
I've already said the one.
I should have mentioned.
Go on.
Yeah, I should have mentioned Arsenal Vision. I picked up Arsenal Vision this season, actually. I'd never listened to it before this season. So, yeah, that is a good shout, Dan.
You do have to listen to it on 75% speed rather than 100% speed because then you can understand what Elliot is saying. He's almost commentating on, and the horse racing or someone doing an auction. So I have to go, whoa, calm down. What's the ones that people are saying here? Mike Hurt, some of the Joe Gogan ones are the greatest, depends on the guest. Here we go. Archie knows it. Clive's smooth voice is top. There he is. Clive is absolutely brilliant. Brentford are 3-0 up, thankfully. And Josh has put depends on how high Joe Rogan is. Yeah, you can see sometimes when he's got Duncan Trussell in there and a few others, and he just gets so mashed. Oh, here we go. Masked Gunner, Highbury squad. That's with Sophie, Amanda, and KC. I don't like calling him KC. I think I should call him Mr. Campbell because I'm still not over the fact that George Graham got rid of Kevin Campbell, brought in John Bloody Hartson, who was shit. Oh, poor old Kev. He could have stayed.
Is that because he's Welsh, Danny? Is that because he's Welsh?
Of course he is. I keep thinking he's Scottish because he played for Celtic for so long. No, it's nothing to do with that. I just ginger, any. I listen to so many. You all see me in the chat room for all the other podcasts, but today I listened to the Tuesday Club, and I've come to the conclusion that Alan Davis is the only one there who knows what Tayo knows what he's talking about, and one of the other posh boys does. But Stoney is an idiot, and El Presidente is a moron. I remember a couple of weeks ago, Davis asked them and said, "What would be your starting 11?" And neither of them could come up with starting 11. They had no idea about who was injured. And I thought, for God's sake, you just shut up. And then I listened to the Athletic Propaganda, the worst named Arsenal podcast, Handbrake Off. James, don't like him, bores me. Stoney was on there again, bores me. Amy, I knew it began with an A. She was brilliant. And then I listened to the Ornstein one, another load of shit. Athletic Propaganda. I don't like it. No humour. It's like they are reading out something from someone's funeral. Oh, for God's sake. I like ones like you and the judge and Craig and having Harry on there. I like it when there's a group of people that you can actually see are genuine mates that WhatsApp each other all day, every day. And then you can get and see the friendship that's going on there. I don't like it when it's people and it's just cold and it's pointless. I'd rather listen to Mike and Andy having no idea what they're talking about soccer-wise than because they're both a pair of idiots. I'd rather listen to that than some pretentious podcast. But Anyway, that's just me. Oh, here we go. Josh says Tifo. Now, Tifo is really, really good. Tifo have got 2 podcasts on YouTube. They've got the short 6-minute ones, and they've got the longer podcast ones. That is really, really good. And I love AC Jimbo as well, but that's another athletic propaganda one. I mean, how can you have 4 adverts in the space of half an hour? Ridiculous. Unless they're flocking you beard oil made in Ireland, I'm not interested. Hey, Dan. Good.
It's got a beard. It's all good.
Like right, another question. Kyle at Destructible Cake, because Twitter isn't long enough. It's Destructible, no E in there. Yeah, Twitter, sort your shit out. Make the ats longer. That's why we haven't got Bergkamp Wonderland. Too many letters. He says, starting with you, Dan. You're Mikel with a budget of tuppence. For people outside the UK, that means bugger all. Oh, he's put of a tuppence, a penny farthing, and a packet of port scratchings. That's old UK currency before we had decimalisation in 1971-72. Name one player from each of the relegated teams that you would buy to strengthen us. He says Ake, Sarr, and Buendia for me. I don't know who. I know
Buendia, yeah.
Who's he play for?
Norwich.
No. Oh, so he's gone Nathan Ake from Bournemouth, centre-back, I do know. Is it Ismail Sarr from Watford, central midfield, defensive midfield? And the other one, what position is he?
Buendia is a kind of creative midfielder.
Oh, so Kyle. Very good. Kyle knows what he's on about. Which ones would you pick, Dan, then, Fem, you ever think?
Do you know what? That's a really good shout there. But I would say I would go with Todd Cantwell from Norwich. I would go with Nathan Ake from Bournemouth because I'm not too sure on some of their other players. I don't think that we need strikers. And then from Watford, I've got to go Decore. I can't go Sarr. I like Sarr, but I've got to go Decore. So it has to be Decore, Cantwell, and Ake for me. They're the 3 I'd go with.
And what sort? Do you think any of those are doable, or do you think?
I think all 3 of them are. I think all 3 of them are doable. I think Nathan Ake looks like he's probably going to go to Chelsea, back to Chelsea or Man City. Apparently, they're both interested in Nathan Ake, so I think that we may be outbid there. But certainly, Todd Cantwell and Decore, 100%. Sarr and Buendia, both more attacking players, but for me, we definitely need a creative midfielder. I like Todd Cantwell. I think Cantwell's got a hell of a future ahead of him. So yeah, I agree with Worldwide Gooner there. Decore, Ake, and Cantwell.
Okay.
I would do Max Aarons. I do like David Brooks. I'll definitely do Jack Grealish. I don't. Oh, he didn't get relegated in the end.
Arsenal saved them from relegation by giving them 3 points and then beating Watford.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, Max Aarons. I heard that Bayern are looking at him. He's a good player. I'll definitely take David Brooks. I'm seeing that from Bulgarian Gooner in the chat. And I do like Bendir because I saw that when they were showing the list of those chance creators from midfield, he was actually in the top 5 of chance creators, and he plays for Norwich, which is absolutely phenomenal, to be honest with you.
I think Ben Godfrey as well. Andy from Dial Square has put Ben Godfrey. I like Ben Godfrey. I think he's going to be a good centre half. I know Andrew was talking about him a long time ago with me. Max Aarons is a great shout for him. I think he is going to be a top fullback. And I actually like Jamal Lewis as well, the left back they've got from Norwich. But yeah, Max Aarons is going to be a top talent. I really believe that. And I'm not a huge fan of Bellerin this season, so right back could be a position that we strengthen. It's just going to be a matter of how much he'd be.
It's crazy though, isn't it, that you can see these teams that concede loads of goals, but if you plot them out of that system, that team, and plot them into a decent team. Look at Andy Robertson, for example, at Hull City, relegated. I think that's where we need to be looking. We shouldn't be taking the castaways from Barcelona and Real Madrid. Stop taking players that are washed up at those clubs and start looking at players that have upside, 22, 23 years old, even if they've been in a relegation or mid-table scrap, they're still young enough. You've seen the talent that they have, and plot them into your team and see that your team will improve.
I think I'm going to agree with you and go Max Aarons because he can defend. He's brilliant, and he cost me a bloody quiz because I didn't get a chance to say his name and I lost. Nathan Ake because he's quality, and we do need a centre back. I think Ake may even be. I wrote down all the players and what position they are. Ake, he's left-footed. He's 25. He's in. Someone let him know. And the other one I'd go for. I don't know anyone from Watford. I really don't. I despise Watford, mainly because of a couple of their players and their owner who doesn't do football right, and now they're paying the price of sacking a manager every 5 minutes. So I don't really want anybody from Watford. But yeah, I think there's some decent players there. Good question. Right. I've scrolled all the way up to the top now like a tool. Next question is from Gooner Hawg. At Gooner Hawg, Hawg. Start with you, Femi. As an American, do I celebrate Pulisic if Pulisic scores? He's a national hope. If he does well, he gets infinitely more coverage over here, which is great to help get past just being the 5th biggest sport in the USA. We don't get many good national players here. What do I do? Oh, there's a predicament for you. What should he do?
No. How about this? Let's go 4-0 up like they did against us last year, and then let Pulisic score a screamer like Iwobi did last year. Then you can shout at that screamer, and that can be replayed all over American news channels, CNN, CBS, Fox Sport. That can be replayed. They can pretend like Chelsea he did an amazing thing, but we still won 4-1. How about that? Then we have our revenge. That's a good solution, isn't it?
Have you got a solution, Dan? Because that does sound quite Hollywood-esque. You'd probably quite like that.
My solution isn't that kind. My solution is you cheer when he plays for the USA. You don't cheer when Arsenal concede a goal. That's the way I see it.
So, what national team do you support, Dan?
Support England, mate, all the way. It's very hard though, mate, because of the amount of Tottenham players of late that are getting into that side. But the good thing about it is they're dropping like flies. Eric Dyer bye, Dele Alli bye, even Harry Kane over the next coming seasons. He's only got a couple of years before some of these lads take him over. You know, I look at the Jadon Sanchos, the Marcus Rashfords, the Mason Greenwoods, and I'm starting to think even Saka, if he chooses England over Nigeria, Harry Kane might get dropped. Let's hope. So,
there's some in AB. I'm English, born in England, 100% English. I don't support England. I haven't given a shit about them since probably 98. So I like to see Sweden and Germany do well. I was on Miami John's pod, and he's German, likes Germany. Chris likes France. Josh, our very own beloved Josh, he likes whoever's the trend is. Femi, which team do you follow?
I hate international football. Not even gonna lie to you.
That's my answer. I hate international football.
I do hate it, but if I do, I mean, I like the new.
Oh, you're breaking up, Fem.
Oh.
Say it again.
Yeah, unfortunately, too many Tottenham players, but we'll see.
So if you had to pick an international team, which one would you pick? Or do you just like me? I like Germany because they play good football. I like Sweden because Swedish ladies are lovely. I like a yellow kit.
I used to like Holland, but we'll see what happens to them, I guess. They've got a good young team now, haven't they? The Dutch. They've got quite a few. They got that Donnell Marlin from Arsenal that used to play for us. So let's see how they go.
PSV striker. Yeah, so much like me. I don't watch any of the qualifiers. I'll watch the European Championships and I'll watch the World Cup. I don't watch any qualifiers. I don't really give a shit about international football. So you're the same with me, Femi. Good, excellent. Oh, of course, Luka supports Croatia, and Bulgarian Gooners says international football. He loves international football, but his team is shit. Josh hasn't put in there which one he wants. Oh yes, Femi said he's going to go and connect to better Wi-Fi. Burb. Not sure what a burb is.
Burb.
We'll find that quite soon. Here we go. A hipster question from our. Oh no, it's not. It's the wrong Josh. It's another Josh. Josh Robinson, 87 for you, Dan. What position do you want? Do you want him to play? I want it to. Oh my god, I haven't edited it properly, have I? I'll move on. I'll go back and get Josh's question. Here you go. Matt L. Roberts, who has currently got a piece for Gunners Town. So go and have a look at that. Matt's a writer there. He says, forget the rumours going around about transfers. Would you be willing to let listeners come on a show like Nick had? Okay, that wasn't a question. See, I just cut and paste these, and sometimes I don't even cut and paste it properly. And try. Yeah. Actually, Matt, I do plan in the summer to let people come on, listeners come on, and join in with the show and see if they can do a better job than most of us, which won't be that hard. Oh, here we go. A proper one from Luca, who's in the chat box now for you, Dan. How much money do you see us spending this summer? And he puts in capital letters. I mean, spend, not net spend.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one, isn't it? A lot of people say, oh, we spent loads of money, and you find out we spent 25 million net spend. I think, realistically, we're going to spend around 60 to 70 million. I don't think it's going to be much more than that, personally. And I think the only way we're going to get majority of that money is by selling. And I think that it's going to be hard to sell, but to get that 70 60s, whatever it is, million. But for me, I think 25-ish on Gabriel Magalhaes is realistic. I think the 45 on Partey is realistic. And I think we need a creative midfielder. And whether that's Jack Greenish or Todd Cantwell or somebody like Zozbazlia or Zobozlay, whatever his name is, from Salzburg, who would only be about 20 million. I'm not sure, but I reckon it will be roughly about 60 to 70. But I'm looking at 3 or 4 players there. I still think we'll come with a couple of youngsters, a couple of like kind of players that will cost us a couple of million, like a Guendouzi or a Martinelli. But the main 3 positions we need to strengthen, in my opinion, because we can't strengthen 8 positions that we need to. I think the main ones are centre half, defensive midfield, and creative midfield.
Yeah, can't argue with that. Are you back with us, Femi, while I'm furiously looking to find out what the rest of his question was? Oh, Femi's got dodgy internet. Oh, no. So I'm trying to find it. It's from Josh Robinson 87. I'm scrolling through this to try and find his question. There's Lucas, and there's John. There's Kyle, Gooner. No, that's our Josh. Too many Joshes. I can't cope. Oh, it's Bukayo Saka. There you go. I knew I'd get there eventually. Can you hear us, Fem? No. Right, I'll give you the question. Bukayo Saka from Josh Robinson 87. What position do you want him to play? I want him to be part of the midfield 3. We need him to cement a role. What do you think, Dan?
This is a great question because our left-hand side is looking strong when you've got Tierney and you've got Saka and you've got Aubameyang and you've got Martinelli. I think Saka is a left winger. He has to be playing on that left wing because his assist and crossing is just phenomenal. I think the only kind of thing I can give him compliment-wise for his assists is Trent Alexander-Arnold got more than him. I think he got 12 or something like that when he had 11. And Saka's already had played. Trent was all season. So for me, Saka's a left midfielder. He can play at a left wing back. They're talking about 3 in midfield and maybe a left centre back. I don't really see him as a left centre midfielder. If we were to play a number 10, he could play there, but I don't like the number 10 position. I think it's dead in football. So for me, it's a left winger for Bukayo Saka. And I absolutely love the guy. I think he's going to be a special talent at Arsenal.
And he signed the contract, so he is staying and no one's stealing him.
Thank God for that.
Going back to the last topic, Josh apparently sports England. Never heard of them. Phil Macker, who's currently in Norwich, growing up in 70s Glasgow. It's Brazil, otherwise I got my head kicked in. Winston says he's never supported England. It's Can you hear us, Fem?
Yeah, how's that?
Hey, there we go. There's people using the Wi-Fi there. Terrible. And Super Califalafalam says he's been a Dutch supporter since the Bergkamp days. Thunder Road is Ghana and France. Although my mum's Irish, I do not support the Republic of Ireland. Although I could play for them, I could probably still play for them now that that's shit. Okay, well, I'm gonna go and find a question for you, Femi. Yeah, Luca was asking how much money do you think we've got to spend this summer, and he means spend, not net spend.
I wouldn't think we had a lot of money to spend. I mean, just judging by people like myself who took their season ticket refunds back, that's a lot of money that the club would have lost. On top of I think they had lost 2 matches of cup credit already. And then you add that to all the season ticket refunds. There's no money for tours this summer. We've got to really be realistic. But I'd think at most 50 million. At most, if you're talking without net spend, I think at most 50 million is what we've probably got. Yeah. Which is probably why Arteta's so insistent that it changes with the Europa League, because you could lose about 20 odd million just by not qualifying for the Europa League.
Yeah, Archie says he thinks we've got 50 million at most. Hipster Josh says if Guendouzi is 30 million plus 25 cash, that's more than the 50 million release clause. Don't think that's got anything to do with what we're talking. Josh, behave yourself. Another question for you, Fem, as we got you back from Noir Confidential. He asked this question last week. He forgot to answer it. We ran out of time. He says Martinez has done well since he replaced Leno. Would you sell him if a good offer came in, or would you prefer to keep him? Who would you pick if you could only have one of Leno or Martinez?
Oh man, it's such a hard question. I would preferably keep both of them, but in the hypothetical situation that you got a massive bid, I would sell Leno for anything 40 million and above. Martinez, anything 25 million and above. But I wouldn't sell either of them to an English club. That's definitely not the situation. I mean, they've both got over 2 years on their contracts, so we don't need to worry about that. I would ideally keep both of them for one season and let them battle it out and see who's the better of the two of them. And then at the end of next season, get rid of one. I mean, if we qualify for Europe, well, you've got one that can play European and Cup games, one that can play league games. I think that's the way to go, to be honest.
Luca is
I know
saying...
I was just about to say that. Luca's saying, why leave money on the bench? But you don't have enough good players as it is, You don't want to be getting rid of players that are actually decent, because if you do sell a keeper, it's not like you're not going to have to pay money to replace them anyway. So what's the point of that?
It's guaranteed if we do sell one of them, the other one will get injured. Dan, which one would you sell, or would you not sell?
I wouldn't sell either of them. This is the first time we've had 2 goalkeepers that have been great since Seaman and Meninga. So that's in 1998. I'm going to say that we keep both of them. If we had to sell, I think the question was if you had to sell one, I would sell Martinez. I think that Leeds are sniffing around him and some of the other teams. I think we could get a lot of money, to be fair. So I would say Leno to keep. He's been consistent, like Dave says there. Leno's in our team all day long. He's not done it for 2 seasons, not just 10 games. Spot on. Martinez is doing brilliantly. You can't take it away from him. And I don't want to be negative about this. I've had a lot of fans go, "Oh, don't know what Arteta's going to do now." Good. We want that in every single position. That's why we want to be. That's where we want to be. You know what I mean? I want to be saying, Aubameyang, does he get in or does someone else? That's what you want in every single position. So this is a great thing for Arteta. And it wouldn't surprise me, if Martinez stays and he's a number 1 next season, and Leno, they fight it out, and Leno fights for his place back. Wouldn't surprise me at all, because he's done nothing to deserve to get dropped. It's unfair on Leno because neither has he. He got injured. It wasn't the fact that he's been dropped because he was poor form. He got injured. But if I had to sell one, it would be Martinez. But I don't want to sell either. I'm with Fem, 100%.
If they do go, which I hope they don't, because we do need both. We've barely had one decent keeper for so long. Now we've got 2, but we've got Carl Jakob Heinz. He is... where's he from? See if I put my thing over. I don't know. It's blue, black, and white flag. He's only 18. He's a decent player. And then we've got Arthur Okonkwo. I think I might have actually got that right. If I apologise. He's only 18. He's been out for a year, but he came into the under-23s He's only 18 at the end of last season and was absolutely brilliant. Matt Macy's probably going to leave soon. Bless him. He's 25. He's not really done much. And then we've got James Hilson, another really good young goalkeeper. It seems we've got decent players coming through at every position apart from centre-back. And I know we've got Ballard and Medley. But what are you laughing at? What have I missed? I was looking at stuff.
apart from centre back.
Yeah, well, those two are going to get their time. We've got the young bloke on loan in Ireland. I think he's on loan at Shamrock Rovers. That loan is because they play a year league rather than over the space of 2 years, and his loan's been extended for the rest of their season. Josh says Estonia. Yes, I do quite know my flags, but Estonia have only just been invented, so that's why I didn't know their flag.
They had a good goalkeeper over the years. He actually played for Arsenal. Do you remember who it was?
Say that again?
Yeah,
Estonia.
Mark Poom.
Yeah, Mark Poom. Remember him? He was Estonian.
I got that on a quiz this week. I was on Ryan's thing, and I got it. Mark Poom. I got 2 points. I think I got 3 points for that. It's lovely, jubbly. Winston says I would not let Leeds have him. I think the last time Leeds got promoted, didn't they take John Lukic off us all the time they got promoted before that? Because he went...
and Jermaine Pennant on loan. They've had a few from us, haven't they, over the years?
Lee Chapman have had loads of links backwards and forwards to those. Right. How long have we been going? An hour and 14. Time's flown by. Second question from Noir Confidential. Start off with you on this one, Dan. If this is Noir, you are so good. You should be on here rather than me because your questions are magnificent. Is Thierry Henry's record of 20 assists in a single Premier League season underappreciated since only now has someone been able to match it? Plus, in Europe's top 5 leagues, only Thierry Henry and Lionel Messi have managed to score both 20 goals and 20 assists during the same season. Oh, what a question.
It's a great question, and it's an outstanding achievement, and one that I think everybody now realised how good it was because it's been done. And I must say, listen, I love Thierry Henry, absolutely love Thierry Henry. But if there is one footballer in the Premier League to equal it, then I'm glad it's Kevin De Bruyne because I just think the guy is an outstanding, exceptional talent. He's the closest thing to world class at the moment in his position. I think he's right up there. I think he's the best player in the Premier League. The goal against Newcastle this season should have been goal of the season. For me, it was outstanding. The volley that underneath the bar, I thought it was quality. And I just love the guy. I just think everything about him is sensational. He just sees a pass before anybody else on the football pitch, but more importantly, anybody else watching at home. You sometimes look and think, well, how did he see that? I didn't even see that. I just think the guy is sensational. So it was a really, really great achievement from him this season. But for me, Thierry Henry, for the amount of goals he scored, the amount that he assisted as well, people never really give him credit for. If he scored the 228 goals for Arsenal, I'm sure about 150 of them were assists as well because he was fantastic. Great player and a great achievement. So yeah, great question from the guy as well. Fantastic question.
It is really, really good. Fem, I take it you agree, but I'm sure you've got something to add to it.
I do. No, yeah, I was just going to say the season that Henry broke that record, he also scored 24 goals. Imagine that. So 24 goals, 20 assists. Ridiculous. And here, his stats are saying in his time with Arsenal, he got 74 assists and 175 goals. So take that as you will.
That's not bad. I was listening to Amy Lawrence today, and she was talking about Ozil and all the things he's assisted. And she said, yeah, but he was assisting Theo Walcott and Olivier Giroud, who the 16-game run that Giroud should have tattooed on his arse. 16 games or 17 without a goal when we should have won the league. So, yeah, it's very, very rarely I say anything nice about Ozil. But we haven't even covered Ozil. We're not going to go down that route. If you want to hear a decent debate about Ozil, go listen to last week's show or go and listen to I think
the radio show on Sunday.
Yes, there's that also. And I'm thinking John's one. I can remember, is it Miami 305 Gooner? I should know. I was on there. Really good. And then we had a good chat about it last week. And like Femi was saying, our live show from the Watford game, they all had a chat about it there. Right, final question. I think he was in the chat earlier. Mike Hertz, AFC, circa 86. Start with you, Femi, on this one. Should the club loan Guendouzi out or to give Arteta some time to realise he's wrong and apologise to Guendouzi? And he's put winking face. I think he's really cheeky there, Mike, if he's still in the chat.
Yeah, that was...
Oh, yeah, here he is. Mike's there.
Oh, yeah. No. I think this one is take the money and run. take the money, cut your losses. He's one of. It's a sad situation, but just get rid. Take it. Don't even do a swap deal. Just take the cash and move on. Let him go and sulk and be someone else's problem. You know, decent player, not a top player in my opinion. He might go on to be a top player, but it's a 50-50 with him as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, I'm just putting Mike's question in the chat box so Archie can read it. Dan, take it you don't agree that he shouldn't.
Man, we need to move this lad on because he doesn't fit the Arteta way. He's fallen out with the boss. The boss says he can't play, so he needs to go. I think we can get some money for Guendouzi, though. You know, I think we can get anything up to 30 million, maybe even a bit more, maybe between 30 and 40 if we really push it. I think he's got bags of potential. With the right hands and the right coaching, I think he could be a fantastic player. I think with Guendouzi, in terms of a player sale, we should put something in his contract that says that we can get player sale on value for him. So I don't know, we take 25% of his next deal, something like that. Because who's to say he goes to, I don't know, let's say he goes to somewhere in Spain and he's then worth 80 to 90 million because he's the next Vieira or whatever you want to call him. I don't know, the next Fabregas. We get 25% of that next sale, or we get 50% of the next sale, whatever it is. Let's try and put something in that contract when he does go, because I think that we could regret that in terms of value. So, move on Guendouzi. No loans, no swaps. Take some money for him because he's one of the only players in this side that I believe we can get half decent money for. So, definitely so.
That's a sad state of affairs. If anyone's got any questions for us, put them in the chat box now. We're going to wrap it up soon. But that Guendouzi thing is he's fallen out with his last two clubs. If you don't apologise to the boss, Arteta's put his foot down and gone, you're not going to be able to sell, you can get fucked. I've not heard anyone say that, put a clause in the contract. Personally, I think that's brilliant. Maybe take a little bit less now and make it back when in the future. That's really good. Here we go. Stan the man says, Stan, you're late. Hope you've got a note. He says, I think Guendouzi will end up like Balotelli, a journeyman who can't settle at the club. I mean, I love Balotelli. I think he's magnificent, not just because he lets off indoor fireworks, fireworks indoors, but you see that bloke, the skill that he's got. I loved having Balotelli when I used to play FIFA back in the olden days, maybe FIFA 15 or 16. Hold on. Andrew has put one in from him. Oh, wow, this is taking on. Talk amongst yourselves while I go and find it, if it's still here. You could have cut and pasted it, Andrew. Made my life a lot easier.
I'll have a look as well, see if I can find it.
Anyone going anywhere nice for the holidays? No, it's gone because it only goes back to 1 minute past 9. So, Andrew, if you want us in there again, then put it in there and I'll read it out. Here we go. Mike Hertz has put a proper question this time. Start with you, Femi. Would you rather the club spend all the money on one top signing or 3 mid-range players?
There you go. Schoolboy error on the mute there. I would rather the club sign 3 players. We are not. What top signing are we getting for the budget that we have? To be honest with you, we need so much surgery in this team that there's no point in blowing. We did the one top signing last summer, didn't we? With Nicola Pepe, and there's so much surgery that we need that you're better off just wholesale getting rid of players and signing 3-4 players that you actually need, rather than blowing all your money on Jack Grealish, for example. No point in that.
One if you, Dan, from Archie. What do you make on the party bid? Embarrassing or fair?
Well, we don't know the true rumours, do we? But from what we're hearing, the deal is it's 50 million euros as a release clause, and we're trying to swap players. And I saw a rumour today about Lacazette, Torreira and Guendouzi for party. Listen, just release the dude's clause, man. Just release the dude's clause. If it's £45 million, then just release it. It's just frustrating for me. And what I'll go back to, and it links in with this question as well, from what Fem just said. I believe personally, you aim high And if you can't get those players in those positions, you get players that fit that style. If you can't get Upamecano, Partey, and Grealish, then instead of Upamecano, get Gabriel. Instead of Partey, you get somebody like Ibrahim Sangare from Toulouse, or Samare from Lille, somebody like that, or Doucouré from Watford, who is more of a box-to-box, to be fair. And if you can't get Grealish, you get Todd Cantwell or Sozas Blai from Salzburg. You've got to get those kind of players in. It doesn't really bother me how much we spend on these players, as long as they're the right fit for the club. So I would rather say get 3 players that fit and suit the style for £10 million than blow 80 million on Jack Grealish. That's much my opinion.
Yeah, I like that. That's good. Like we're going to give 3. No one gives 3 players for one. Did you see that Barcelona have bought a player from Portugal, a young man who's only played a few games, and his release clause is 500 million euros. only in Spain. That's absolute madness. Here's one for both you. Femi, start with you. Oh, go on. What were you going to say?
No, there was a question on Twitter. I don't know if you did it while I was away, but we can do it after you do this one. Because I promised the guy that I would answer it on Twitter. Oh,
that would have been the one about Saka, wasn't it?
Yeah, you've done that already?
Yeah, Josh Robinson, yeah. Where would you want him to play then?
I like him at left back, to be fair. I do like him at left back, on that left-hand side. Yeah. So that's the answer that I said I'd give Josh. So, yeah, left back for me.
Yes. Lovely. Right, to Dan, what name would you have on the back of your shirt this season, and what number?
Do you know what? I debated this, and the only reason I don't do numbers on shirts is because they either leave when I get them or they get injured when I get them. I went through the season. I remember I got Thomas Vermaelen, and he got injured for the whole year. Then I got Thomas Rosicky, he got injured for 2.5 years. Then I got Theo Walcott, got injured for most of the years. I think I got Van Persie one year as well, and he got injured again, like he always does. So I don't do it. I got Aubameyang this year on the away shirt, just gone, and he didn't get injured, so touch wood is good. But I've ordered the home shirt, and I've got no number on it. If I had to get one, it would be between 2 players. Kieran Tierney, because he's turning into one of my favourite players. Yeah, absolutely love the guy. Or it would be Saka, because he's that number 7 now. That's one of the only reasons that I would have gone for him, just because he's just been given the number 7, and I think he's going to turn into a great player. But I'd probably go with Tierney, because I just think he's going to turn into one of my favourite players. I just love everything about Kieran Tierney. I think he's going to be fantastic.
He is. You see some of the stuff last season from Celtic, and then the YouTube stuff. And I was saying right back then, the boy is something special. His ability to pinpoint those crosses into the middle of the box is we can't even get. I'll have to take a moment to have a lay down and with a warm cold flannel. What are you going to have, Fem, if you had to have one?
I'm looking at that famous number 4 Saliba shirt right now. That looks very appetizing, doesn't it? Number 4, the famous number 4. I mean,
the savior of our
Vieira. Yeah, exactly. So let's hope he wears it as great as. He was it can't be any worse than the last number 4, can he? He was El Neni, who had it for however long he had it. But yeah, I mean, Per had it, but obviously Patrick Vieira had it, and I've got big hopes for William Saliba, to be honest with you. So yeah, that's my shout.
I hope you're right. That's a great shout, to be fair. I'll tell you what, Danny, Josh has just put in the chat, can Dan buy a Kolasinac shirt? I'll tell you what, I'll buy a Kolasinac shirt, but it will be an Ipswich Town one, because hopefully that's where he's going next. It won't be an Arsenal one, that's for sure.
Yeah, we'll have a whip down. We'll have a GoFundMe. We'll get one of those going. I would have hold on, cover my tooth up. Ginger Josh 69. There you go. That's what I have on the back of my one, and I'll get Josh to sign it. What was the question? Oh no, we did that question, didn't we? You said there was one we had to do. Or was there another one?
Yeah, we did. No, that was it. We did it.
I'll tell you what, I've got one for you boys. Who's your player of the season? Is it an obvious shout?
Aubameyang.
Before Leno got injured, I would have said Leno, but Oba's carried us.
I'm with you.
Yeah, Leno carried this team on his back for the whole of the Emery days, to be honest with you. If we didn't have Leno in goal for that time, I think we forget that sometimes, that we were facing unlimited amount of shots on our goal. I've never seen anything like it before. I think we've kind of forgotten about those days, that we were our goal was being peppered left, right and centre, and he was having an amazing season. But Olber's been amazing, to be fair. He's brilliant.
I'm with you, man. I would have gone Leno before the injury, but Aubameyang is just, even in this project restart, has proven why he's our best player, so it has to be him. Danny, we have got from Dial Square Andrew's question now. It's at 9:27. There you go. You got it.
Yeah, you ask it then. I'll let you do that.
Why is everyone scared of Giroud and worried about Chelsea? We're matching them all over the pitch, and rather than Giroud, we have Aubameyang. Blimey. It's a great shout, to be fair. It is a great shout. The problem is we have got Aubameyang, right? We have, and he is top drawer, don't get me wrong. Giroud is a dangerous player, a different dimensional player, and someone that we will find it very hard to defend against. I believe Aubameyang can tear Chelsea's defence up too, and it's why I agree with Andrew there. It's why I believe it's going to be a 3-2. I think it's going to be goals in this game. So that's why I've gone for 3-2, because I think Giroud will be a handful, but I think Aubameyang will too. So it's a great question, to be fair.
And sadly, Giroud is a bit of a dinosaur tactics-wise now. There's not many teams doing that. We've even seen the evolution of players like Vardy, where he can now do everything, and now he's going to slow down. We've still seen Vardy as a hell of a player. Those big lumps, those big number 9s, there's not many of them around, is there? I was going to answer a question. Also, I think a nod for Player of the Year should go to Lacazette for the strong beard game, because that's severely lacking in the Arsenal at the moment. We need more beards. We certainly do. Femi, one for you from Bulgarian Gooner. Would you swap the Europa League with old school tournaments like the Cup Winners' Cup or a straight knockout UEFA Cup? Fuck yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I've got a feeling that we are going to see that next season.
The one coming up? They're going to change.
I think we're going to see that next season.
Why? I
just don't see how are we going to get back and forth European games with the situation that we are in at the moment. Oh. You know, we can hardly put on a Champions League in August. You know, every team is traveling to Portugal to play. So where's the difference going to be between August and September? And I mean, the Europa League is supposed to start mid-September. How's that going to fit into the calendar with everything? You know, it's going to be a really condensed season starting in September, October, and you've got the Euros next summer now as well. So everything has to be finished by May. So I think we're going to be shocked at some decisions that UEFA are going to have to make regarding some of their European competitions. We could see a lot of earlier knockout rounds or less group games or something like that. You might be shocked by that.
That's you two have brought some really good points. I love the sell-on clause one, and that's a really good point as well. The pair of you need to stop it and start answering questions with the word custard and then flapping your hands in your face and going, "I don't understand." Dan, you, much like me, I take it you missed the old knockout days, which were proper European tournaments. I loved them, although we were shit. Apart from the 2 Cup Winners' Cup runs, we used to, the first year back in the Europa League, did we get knocked out by Borussia Dortmund? We got done by AOK Salonika. It wasn't good for us, but I miss it. Do you?
Listen, I'll tell you what I do miss is I miss the Champions League. And I know that people say, yeah, but you never won it and you never did. I do miss the Champions League big time. And I used to take it for granted. It used to be frustrating when we'd lose to Bayern Munich or lose to Barcelona. But I just take that again now just to be back in it, because I cannot deal with this Thursday night Channel 5 rubbish. It is ridiculous going to Uzbekistan on a Thursday night and then having to play on a Sunday. That's why I've said it. If we do not win the FA Cup, then I'm glad that we didn't finish in European places in the league, because I do need a break from it, and I think the players need to breathe from it as well. But of course, I want to win the FA Cup, so I hope we play in it next season, because that means we've won the FA Cup.
Yes, I agree. I'm just looking at some of the Italian results. I always tell people the last few games of the Italian season are always mental. Juventus are losing 2-0. Zlatan's got a couple for Milan. Sassuolo have beaten Genoa 5-0. We've got that young player, Dominic Berardi. Always really liked him. And what was the other one I was looking at? Oh, Juventus. Whether Ramsey started. No, he didn't. There you go. Quickly, do you think Ramsey will Brentford a sweet 3-1 Swansea? That means it's 3-3, so Swansea will go through on away goals. Do they have away goals? Nobody knows. No one cares.
Is it 3-3 Yeah, I thought Swansea won the first leg 1-0, no?
It was 1-0 Swansea, so yes, 3-2.
Oh, it must be Fulham that won 2-0 then.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
lovely.
Fulham, yeah.
All right, we're going to do 2 last quick questions. See, I've forgotten what I've just said. That's terrible, isn't it? What was I just talking about?
You just said you think Ramsey's going to come back, but I just said I was going to say no because he's on 400 grand a week.
No, I don't. Not come back to us. No, I wouldn't want him back. Can't afford the doctor's costs. Do you think he's going to be at Juventus next season playing for them?
No, I don't.
I mean, no, but I mean, who's gonna pay his wages? He's in the he's in the Gareth Bale category now, isn't he? Which is massive wages. Like, unless Juve are gonna pay majority of it, who's gonna take it on?
True, and I do love Ramsey, one of my favourite players. Right, final question. Mike Hertz, favourite sport movie? I'll answer this one. I've got a couple while you're thinking. Days of Thunder, that's actual real sport. It's America. And the other one was the Dan Hardy MMA. No, not Dan Hardy. He is an MMA fan. Tom Hardy. There you go. All the words are there. Shake my head or they come out in the wrong order. The Tom Hardy one, I think it was called Warrior. Oh, as close to a real MMA situation as you're going to get, I think. I don't know any other films that have done that. Fem, have you got one you can think of, or 2, or 3? I don't make the rules. Are you muted?
Yeah, I mean, I've got no, I'm not muted.
You're thinking
frazzling all over the place, but I think I'm back now. No, I would go Any Given Sunday. I absolutely loved Any Given Sunday. I loved Jerry Maguire, that Tom Cruise going crazy in that. And from someone put a good shout there, Remember the Titans. That's a great movie. But for me, from when I was younger, The Mighty Ducks was my favorite sports film. You've never seen The Mighty Ducks? Oh my god! I mean, if you like Goonies and stuff like that, you'll definitely love Mighty Ducks.
No, I don't like the cold. Dan, if you've got one, I'm trying to ignore what Thunder Road has put in there. He's a dirty boy. What's your favourite sports film?
Remember the Titans was the first one that comes to mind, to be fair. But the other one that I'm going to give a shout out to watching it as I was growing up, Cool Runnings. That was absolute classic, mate.
Based on a true story.
Absolutely loved it. Based on a true story and quality. But 2 more serious ones, but they're more documentaries, really. The Last Dance, absolutely amazing on Netflix, just sensational. And Senna, I'm a massive Formula 1 fan. I thought Senna was an unbelievable film. The way that they did that with documentary about Ayrton Senna, for me, was superb. The other one that I did like, and I don't actually like it that much, basketball, but Coach Carter was a really good. Oh, someone's just put it in. Ryan from Mr. Arsenal podcast just put it on. Coach Carter, that was quality. I enjoyed that. Thought that was a great one. So there's some good sports films. If I had to pick one, I would probably go with Cool Runnings. Just because I absolutely loved it. Just thought it was brilliant from start to finish.
It was funny. Yes, I'm thinking what else we've got to do. Right, we need to do our gentleman's nods while you two are thinking of yours. I will say thank you very much to Craig for lending us, Dan, the £25,000. I misread it. It wasn't £2.5 is on its way via courier. And then also our ABW Fantasy Premier League has finished. The winner was Warren DSOU, is it D'Souza? Maybe they missed out the apostrophe. Warren D'Souza with Pepe Don't Preach. Second place was Orpheus Jones. Isn't that the person from Matrix? No, maybe not. Maybe I know that person's name.
Morpheus, yeah.
Oh, there you go, Morpheus. He's for Orpheus. His team was called Bond James Collin. I don't know what the hell that means. And in third place, Snake Juice with Prin FC, again, more nonsense I have no idea about. And the ABW one, Jeff Hollefrond with Sudsy Bubbles has won back-to-back titles. Josh Dorr, second place with Los Polos Ceballos, which is the chicken Ceballos. I think Polos is Spanish for chicken, or I think so. And in third place, Michu at Digiaba. But then Collins uses Spurs players. So you, sir, are fired. Dan, is there anybody you would like to give a gentleman's nod to?
To be fair, there's a couple of shout-outs. First, yourself, Danny, for letting me come on, man. I've absolutely loved it. It's been
Sorry
awesome.
it took so long.
Nah, it's all good, man. And it's nice to meet Fem as well.
Yeah.
But thanks for having us on, man. And just want to give a shout-out to Same Old Arsenal, because we'll be coming on Friday night. Will be me, Kevin Campbell, and Lee Judges for a FA Cup preview on Friday at 7 o'clock, guys. So please come and check it out on YouTube, 7 p.m. and come and follow us at Same Old AFC in capitals, or follow myself at DanArsenal87. But hopefully we'll see some of you on Friday night.
Love your podcast. It's brilliant.
Cheers,
Fem, who would you like to give a gentleman's nod to? Not whoever runs the Wi-Fi where you are. That they need to
yeah, sorry about tonight, guys. I've been on a bit of a. I'm not in my usual setup.
Don't tell them where you are.
Jumping around. No, I'm not telling them where I am. No, I want to give a shout out to everyone at ABW. To be honest, all the guys I've been doing the live shows with this season. Josh has hosted nearly every show that I've done. Josh, Carl, Ellis, all the guys really. John. I did a show with the Pirate this year, which is good as well. So yeah, all the guys at ABW. But I'm gonna be really cheeky, and I wanna go and follow me, please. I need more followers, please. Follow me. I don't usually do that, but I want to get to 1,000 followers before the end of the summer. So come on, follow me.
Yeah, go and look at our Twitter, our own podcast Twitter, because I've started putting people's ats in there, not mine, because I don't want followers, because I found the more followers that I have, the more people I have telling me I'm wrong. So I should have 0 followers, and I'll be a very happy person, because it's nothing but grief. Right, thank you very much to everybody who joined us in the chat box tonight. You have all been very special in your own special way, and good luck to the mighty Arsenal on Saturday. I don't think we need it, and it's definitely not going to be a 0-0. The show will be live 10 minutes after the game. I think it's going to be Jason, Josh, John, Chris, Ellis, Josh, Femi, Carl. Everyone's going to be on. It's going to be a slobber knocker, a hell of a way to see the season out. And we will be back to dissect the magnificent 18-0 win against Chelsea sometime next week. And then we have got a couple of special podcasts that Femi, Carl and Drew are working on. A special one. It's going to be very interesting. We're going to have a few listeners ones over the summer where we're going to invite you into our chat. And if you're a knob, we're going to kick you out. We're going to see how that goes, because that's going to be fucking carnage. But we're going to do it, because there's fuck all else to do for the 5 minutes between the end of this season and the beginning of next season. So thank you very much, Femi, for joining us tonight. You have been delicious.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Sorry about the Wi-Fi, but next time it will be much better. Don't worry.
And thank you very much, Dan, for joining us tonight. You have been effervescent. Which means
thank
busy.
you very much.
That's what I think of.
Well played. No, thanks, boys, and pleasure, absolute pleasure, and appreciate it. We'll have to return the favour and do something together and do a crossover, Danny. Sounds good, man.
Good idea in the summer. I've got one planned with Amanda and Sophie and Mr. Campbell from their ones. Yeah, do that again. It's always good. And we will see you all on Saturday. Thank you very much, and good night.